So there's no doubt that pressure has been mounting from the base. There's been plenty of time, plenty of evidence that's already been presented. As I was going through the column from Fox, honestly, there was nothing there that I don't believe any of us in the Officer Tatum's audience didn't already know. But there's a lot of things that have been happening surrounding this impeachment inquiry. And I want to give you just a dose of some of that. The Hill, the memo, the Hill, it's the title of the column, the memo, 5 Democratic alternatives if President Biden exits the 2024 race. Guys, the fact that they are writing that column at The Hill is a big deal. It's a big deal. The Hill is obviously, I mean, they have a few conservatives that'll write for The Hill or throw out some columns for The Hill on occasion, but it is pretty much a left-wing rag, all right? They try to be, or left-wing to moderate. I don't think they're crazy leftists. Sometimes they are, but for the most part, they are not, but they are left. But when they come out with a headline like this, the memo, 5 Democratic alternatives if President Biden exits the 2024 race, wink, 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 wink. These people are starting to nudge. You've heard Van Jones on CNN. Oh, I don't know, he's getting a little old, so on, et cetera. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what they were saying. Democrats are getting a little nervous. They're fretting. Why? Because his approval ratings are low. Now, listen, I don't buy into all of the polls, but the Democrats buy into these things hook, line, and sinker. It's all they do all the time. That's what they do. That's what they live by. They live by polls. The Republican Party is starting to live by polls, but Democrats have always lived by polls. But many people are saying they're concerned about his age. That's starting to appear more and more and more. People are really concerned. And I got to tell you, and I'll speak about this. I have some columns here printed out. Hat tip to the forgotten man about what occurred yesterday. I really think Joe Biden, in a typical presidential race, Joe Biden, in my opinion, ended his campaign yesterday. Knowing that the Democrats have a machine, I'm going to have to reel that back a little bit. But in a typical presidential race, I think Joe Biden would have officially ended his campaign yesterday. And I'm not talking about he would have walked away, he would have resigned. I mean, the people would have ended it. I'll talk about some of the things that occurred on 9/11 that proves this guy is just a complete and utter disgrace. And so is his administration. Some things that I didn't get into yesterday, but also some things that have transpired and have been written about since. But here's why the left is concerned, and this is what I believe gives Speaker Kevin McCarthy the courage, if you will, to come out with this impeachment inquiry, to go forward with it. And again, not an impeachment, but an impeachment inquiry, essentially giving him more power, more investigative power, more power to get the material they need to prove that Biden is corrupt. Below approval ratings, his approval ratings, I believe the guy is at 39%, and that's correct. 39% of adults approve of Biden's job performance. If this sinks down even further, they may have to throw this guy overboard. Plenty of people are saying they're concerned about his age. 67% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents asserted, I really don't know what that means. This is why I don't trust the polls, but asserted the party should choose someone else as its standard bearer. That terrifies them, even though the word asserted is in there, which is pretty asinine to me. But 67% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents asserted the party should choose someone else as its standard bearer. This makes them a little nervous. However, most Democrats believe Biden will be the nominee. Meaning, listen, if Biden is the man, I'm going to vote for him anyway. But if you guys can find another candidate, I'm down to vote for him. That's what the left knows. That's what the Republican Party knows. Here are the 5 Democrat alternatives that now, all of a sudden, the Hill is writing about. Vice President Kamala Harris. She had another word salad. I forget where that. I've got to search for that. She had another word salad just yesterday. If I can find it somewhere in my stack of brilliance, I'll share that with you. The problem with her is her poll. The problem with her is that laugh, for one, and nobody wants to hear that for another 4 years. But also, her poll ratings are often worse than Biden's. And now, I know there's some people out there that say, listen, they would not throw a black woman under the bus. I've explained this before. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. The left is telling us exactly who they are. How much time we have, Sean? They're telling us, okay, they're telling us exactly who they are. These are full-blown communists and fascists, all right? And whatever they have to do to fundamentally transform America, even if that means kicking or throwing Kamala Harris under the bus as well, they will do it. You can bet your bottom dollar. Remember, Joe Biden is one of the most racist Democrats in modern American politics. And yet he's the president of the United States. He can go into a show like The Breakfast Club and call Charlemagne is no God or tell him you ain't black if you don't vote for me. That's what Joe Biden gets away with, even within the black community that votes Democrat. So please don't sit here and tell me they won't kick Kamala Harris under the bus. This is a party that has waged psychological warfare against the black community for approximately 100 years or coming up to 100 years or so. So please, they will kick her under the bus, no problem, and people will forget about Kamala Harris. Listen, she couldn't even get above, I think it was 2% in the primaries. I mean, she had to leave the race before Iowa. Please. I know Kamala Harris has a following of blacks, but you know what they want to do? They want to win. Democrats want to win too. And if it means kicking Kamala Harris under the bus, they'll do just that as well. The second person that they've been talking about is obvious, Gavin Newsom. Now, I believe that in the event that they do have to roll Biden off to the morgue, Gavin Newsom will be the guy. Even though I know we look at him and I'm like, oh, man, we pay attention to politics all the time. And we're like, this guy is too far left to win.